All right, crew for the program.
Blown out septum. A lot of bad decisions.
A lot of bad decisions. Crew for the program. So some big stuff happening, obviously, with some big names that we just mentioned, but some names that came up over this past week that are starting to stir up a little bit, which is exciting. Colin Simmons is one that DJ Lagway, and this comes from an On3 article. It wasn't Corey Bender. I can't remember who. I think it was Keith who wrote this article. Make sure we show them some credit here. He mentioned that Colin Simmons, who's not being favored, it looks like it's an LSU, I think, in Texas battle. But DJ said, hey, Colin might be a Florida guy. Like, don't sleep on that just yet. So the article was a dark horse of, hey, a possibility. Colin Simmons was there for the spring game. He was there when Xavier committed. They have their photo of the 3 of the 5 stars hanging out. Colin Simmons is one that we felt good for a long time, and then obviously him visiting LSU, and I think it's Texas. That noise kind of took things over a little bit, and so it's been quiet. And it's been quiet on our end, but this kind of makes everything resurge back again. If DJ's out there hustling, it's just not as vocal as some of the other recruits are. Dave?
Yeah, and DJ's got a don't give up attitude and a take care of business attitude, and that's what I like about DJ Lagway. And of course, he's an elite quarterback, so he's going to attract elite talent anyway by anything that he says or does or where he's at. So I do like the fact that he does speak up. And I'll take a quote from the On3 NIL Elite Series that they were at just, I guess, past day, or actually they're probably still there now. But he says the University of Florida, honestly, the atmosphere, the fans, the people there, it's just DJ Lagway wasn't lying when he told me that the fan base is crazy. Like, they love the athletes. It's just, I loved it. I love being around people that show love to athletes. It means that you care. And they asked him a question. They said, does it hit a little different when you hear it from a guy like DJ Lagway, who is also from Texas and making a move to the state of Florida? He says, oh, yeah, for sure. That speaks a lot. So right now, it is a Texas LSU battle. I think LSU's trending right now, but at the same time, it's so early. I think he wants to take his commitment out to December, from what I've heard. So, hey, keep beating the drum, keep chipping away. You never know what's going to happen.
Love it, love it, love it. Good stuff. The article was by Corey Bender, actually, so it wasn't by the guys I said. Another big one is LJ McCray. Is another big guy that is getting some love for us, which, again, is exciting. A name that we hadn't heard before. I believe he's an edge. Is that correct, Dave?
Yeah, he visits June 2nd, which is this weekend. So, yes.
So, I remember when you mentioned his name about him visiting. Again, he's somebody that will be there. This will be his 5th trip. He's 6'6", 260 pounds. Again, this is another great article by Corey Bender. I think he's also the Seminoles are in on him as well. Steve, have you heard this name before?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's set up to come in on the 23rd, as a matter of fact.
Okay. I don't think it's an official. It's just a visit, though, currently, right?
No, he's set up for an official for us. 4-star out of Miami.
Straighter than a circle.
If I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so the Seminoles are not receiving an official visit until October. So this might just be a visit. But they have a lot of interest. There's a lot of comfort in Tallahassee. So, look, I love a good old-fashioned Sunshine State showdown. We had a few last year, not many, but it feels like, and we're going to get into it a little bit later on with FSU, it feels like that's going to heat up more this year than it has in a very long time, which is good. I think it's good for football. We've always talked about Miami and Florida State being good. It's good just for football. It's good for Florida. We enjoy it. As much as I hate that you guys are having success, it's fun. It makes this more exciting for all of us. So we'll love a big pickup on LJ McCray. Another name which was strange that I heard or I read this week was Ryan Wingo, wide receiver, 5-star guy, currently committed to Tennessee. Been a lot of talk about him going to Georgia because of the Dylan Raiola situation. I know he's visited Colorado one time, had a lot of great things to say about that. It feels like these wide receivers are making their rounds. But mind you, DJ Lagway, Dylan Raiola, Aaron Nolan at Ohio State, Tennessee, I don't think they have a big-time 2024 quarterback commit. I could be wrong. I'm sure
Ryan Wingo's not committed.
I know, but he was been heavily favored for Tennessee this entire time. He's not committed, but Tennessee has been high on his list. It's kind of what I was getting at. Sorry, but yes, thank you for clarifying that. But so I read that name and I'm like, we haven't heard that name at all. But it looks like, look, Billy, they're out there just slinging it, boys, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, Ryan Wingo's kind of a Tennessee, Georgia guy. I mean, he has visits lined up for Georgia this weekend, Texas, Missouri, Michigan. I mean, anything can happen in recruiting, but I don't know. I think Florida's kind of far and away from this one, to be honest. But
Sure.
as I said, man, it's what May, almost June. You just don't know how recruiting is going to go. But I'm not going to sit here and say that Florida is going to necessarily pick up his commitment and overshadow Georgia or Tennessee right now, just based on how it's going. So right now, if you're a Florida fan, I really wouldn't be looking at that name. But as I said, it's recruiting. You never know. So.
Absolutely. And the last name we got is Jordan Ross. So this was one by Keith. This is, and I mentioned this in the Jubilee weekend, is there's a lot of noise from other recruits about certain players and where they're going. Jordan Ross was a name that was popping up, according to this article by Keith here from On3, of somebody who could be looking at Florida. We're not on the On3 prediction. We're not at the top right now. I think it's Georgia, I believe, or it might be Alabama. It is Georgia, Tennessee, then Florida right now. But apparently there's a lot of noise stirring around that he could be Florida could be moving up in the ranks in his projections. He's a 6'4" edge, 215 pounds out of Alabama. So, again, D-line is something that we could use some help on. A 96 average, that'd be a nice, healthy addition to the line. I don't feel like there's a lot of big edge players that we missed out on last year, and I would like to land a few. I know Rusal was one of those guys, so I would love to possibly land one of them for sure.
Do we land Jordan Ross or Jordan Seaton?
I'll read that in a minute. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Okay. Yeah, he's pretty interesting. Jordan Ross is an interesting prospect. I mean, he has us in his top 8 that he had just released. He'll be here this weekend as well. He has visits lined up with Georgia, then Texas, then Tennessee. And he's an Alabama guy. And we've had pretty good luck with Alabama guys. I mean, you go back to the Kelby Collins thing. You go back to a lot of these Alabama guys that have come
I want to say he's rooming with Kelby Collins this week is what I read as well, too.
I mean, yeah. Kelby's an Alabama guy, too. And on his first visit, which he quoted, he said, it's a big city there, and everything is really close together. I really like the rooms the players have to live in. They were better than most colleges I've ever seen. So he likes the rooms. He says they're better than some of the, other, amenities than all the other colleges that they had. And he liked the academics and such, but right now, I think Florida's in it with everybody else. I mean, it's not going to be one of those where, like, oh, my God, Florida took the lead in his recruitment or anything. But having a visit this weekend, I mean, especially DJ Lagway and the 3 other guys that's going to be there with him already committed to Florida, you can really make up some ground. So I'm really interested to see what happens with Jordan Ross and his interest moving forward after this weekend.